So once again, we want to thank everyone that did purchase a ticket and who is here today. Without your support, the Eastern Ottawa Resource Centre wouldn't actually have half of the services that they do have, and it's all thanks to you, so thank you so much. We also have a longtime supporter of Cruisedale Brews. That's Duty Inspector Mike Maloney from the Ottawa Police Services to speak and to say a few words about his personal family history with domestic violence and why the programs we are supporting today are so important. Nous avons avec nous un supporter de longue date, l'inspecteur Mike Maloney des services de police d'Ottawa, qui nous parlera de son histoire personnelle de violence familiale. Il vous convaincra de l'importance des programmes que nous appuyons aujourd'hui. Mike Maloney?
Good morning, everyone. The skies aren't as nice as it has been in the past, but I know that you're going to have a great ride. And I want to thank you on behalf of the Eastern Ottawa Resource Centre and people like myself who are adult children of domestic violence. My story, we could be here for hours if I wanted to tell my story, as is indicative of a lot of people that are probably here in the crowd who know of stories of domestic violence. What I do want to say about that is that back in the 1970s, what happened to my mother, and I'm speaking on behalf of my mother now, not as Mike Maloney, police officer, but what happened to my mother, there were no resources for her. She ended up going to prison because she ended up killing her partner. She killed her partner because he brutally beat her and put a gun to her head and played Russian roulette. That's the short story version of the story. All I can say is that you can take from that what you want, but the only supports that my mother got was in prison. Takes in prison for women. She served 10 years for that. The first 6 months she was in hospital as a result of beating. So she had enough strength to pull the trigger of the gun that was put to her head. And so she ended up spending time in prison. So I grew up knowing that. We had a large family of 14. Prior to that, though, there were no social supports after my father had died. Now, this individual that beat her up was not my father. This was after my father had died. And the people that came around that were supposedly supporting families in crisis at that time, they weren't there. They actually stole from my mother. They stole our father's life insurance and his pension, and they sold the house, and 12 kids were put out into the street. The older ones, they had, my oldest sisters, they had jobs, so they basically started to bring the family back in. But the family was broken up and put into foster care. And in foster care, my younger brothers and sisters and some of my other older brothers and sisters were brutalized. And so they went through an awful lot. And when I look at people who work for the Eastern Ottawa Resource Centre, I see in their eyes the strength and the caring that wasn't there for my mother. My mother had to get help in the prison system, and that is nowhere for anyone to get any help. We should have those supports in place long before that, and I honestly believe she never would have been placed in that situation if she would have had the supports all along. So every one of you that are here today, that are supporting this through financial means, and are here in spirit, and stand shoulder to shoulder to speak out against violence against women, and the issues, and the children. Those little kids, they grow up. Some of them become police officers. Some of them don't. Some of them have scars as a result of that. So there's a redemption story to all this. Once my mother got out of prison, she did get the support she needed. She became the grandmother that we all looked forward to having, and the mother that we all missed, and the family all got together. I was adopted out of my family, so I kind of avoided an awful lot of that. I only found out later after I became a police officer what had gone on. But when my mother passed away, she brought the family back together again because they reached out to me, and that's how I got to find my family again. So my son and daughter have 14 uncles and aunts that they can reach out to. They have a huge extended family as a result of that. So there is redemption in there, and there is hope. But it only comes from people like you that support these causes, and the people that work at places like the Eastern Ottawa Resource Centre. So that's my story. I couldn't really say it in 2 minutes. There's a lot to it. There's a few articles that have been written about it. My sister is writing a book on her experiences as well with the family, and it's something to think about because you never know when you're looking at the person across from you what they've experienced. So walking a mile in their shoes kind of thing, but understand that it touches us all, and this is everyone's issue. Violence against women, domestic violence is everyone's issue. And I look at the children that are here today, and I know I've met some of the counselors, Julie and some of the others, that are really invested in seeing that these kids grow up in a safe environment, and they have to work very hard at that. And so they need our support. So they get it through various means, and this is one means. And when you look at it, we all have labels. Some of us are police officers, some of us may identify as bikers, etc. But we're all here for a certain reason, and we're here for that cause. And maybe we know someone that's very close, or maybe we've been victims ourselves. So thank you very much for being here. I'm going to quickly, before I hand it over to Mike for the safety briefing, we have a few officers here. The problem this year is all that construction on Ogilvie. So we're going to ask that you just be aware that we're going to control Montreal and Ogilvie for you. And after that, you're kind of on your own because we can't pass through that construction area. So just drive safely, enjoy the day, enjoy the barbecue. I may see you there a little bit later today if I get a chance. But again, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for the support, and have a great ride.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.